At one time, the Blessed One was dwelling in the royal domain of Vulture Peak Mountain, with a great gathering of monks and a great assembly of bodhisattvas. At that time, the Blessed One was absorbed in the samadhi of the many aspect phenomena called profound appearance. At the same time, noble Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva Mahasattva, looking at the practice of the profound perfection of wisdom, saw the five skandhas in their natural emptiness. Then, through the power of the Buddha, Venerable Shariputra said to the noble Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva Mahasattva, "How should a son of the lineage train who wishes to follow the practice of the profound perfection of wisdom?" Thus he spoke, and the noble Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva Mahasattva answered the Venerable Shariputra with these words. Shariputra, those men and women of the lineage who wish to follow the practice of the profound perfection of wisdom should look at it like this. The five skandhas should be seen purely in their natural emptiness. Form is empty, emptiness is form. Emptiness is not other than form. Form also is not other than emptiness. In the same way, feeling, recognition, compositional factors, and consciousness are empty. Shariputra, like this, all phenomena are emptiness, and having no characteristics, they are moral and unceasing. They are not impure or pure. They neither decrease nor increase. Therefore, Shariputra, in emptiness there is no form, no feeling, no recognition, no compositional factors, no consciousness, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no appearance, no sound, no smell, no taste, no sensation, no phenomena. There is no quality of sight, and so on, until no quality of mind, no quality of mental consciousness. There is no ignorance and no exhaustion of ignorance, and so on, up to no old age and death, and no exhaustion of old age and death. In the same way, there is no suffering, no origin, no ending, and no pattern, no wisdom, no attainment, and no non-attainment. Therefore, Shariputra, since there is no attainment, bodhisattvas rely on and abide by means of the profound perfection of wisdom. And since their minds have no obscurations, they have no fear. Transcending falsity, they attain nirvana. All the Buddhas who dwell in the three times have relied upon the perfection of wisdom and have become true and complete Buddhas of unsurpassable, perfect and complete enlightenment. Therefore, the mantra of the profound perfection of wisdom, the mantra of insight, the unsurpassed mantra, the unequaled mantra, the mantra which calms all suffering should be known as truth, for it is not deceptive. The mantra of the perfection of wisdom is proclaimed. Teyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasangate Bodhisoha. Shariputra, this is how a Bodhisattva Mahasattva should train in the profound perfection of wisdom. Then the Blessed One rose from that samadhi and said to the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, Noble Avalokiteshvara, that he had spoken well. Well done, O son of the lineage, it is so. O son of the lineage, since it is just so, that the profound perfection of wisdom should be practiced just as you have taught, and that the Tathagatas will also rejoice. When the Blessed One said this, the Venerable Shariputra and Noble Avalokiteshvara, Bodhisattva Mahasattva, and the entire gathering, as well as worldly beings, gods, humans, asuras, and gandharvas, rejoiced and praised the words of the Blessed One. Lamada Gombo Jezen Jambe Yang Changse Lo Kangye Lo Du Jini Jinje Nida Nanda Raseve Jini Tenge Jeze Zizi Nije Toga Lebanze Kanda Sebe Sara Mare Menton Donge Jezebe Rozo Gyala Beji Daze Yala Joje Yade Son Roda Chido Nyemo Nyeno Jado Jose Jim Mare Mise Donge Nyogo Chuni Jose Redrona Dene Doje Saje Doze Yode Lezo Jose Toyego Jodo Jodo Juni Genje Dade Mise Jambe Yonale O Arabazanadi O Arabazanadi O Arabazanadi Sede Jeje Chera Vezeje Dale Demo Mebarazene Kadam Tenju Jolo Tomayi Bobi Nawan Sadozo Yoso Jimbu Shoji Yendo Che
So, as usual, we will take our time to cultivate appropriate motivations. We need to cultivate appropriate motivations as we have recited the refuge formula. I take refuge in Chijos until I'm enlightened, to the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha, for the practice of giving and so forth. May I attain Buddhahood for the benefit of all other sentient beings. So, in order to receive the teachings of the Dhamma, it is important to shape our motivations. And our motivation must be contingent upon the the verse that we have recited earlier.
다들 대중 시와나 경로 강조사기 사자대야 다당가서 콤바선을 부수도 선을 제 많이 받지. 덤바 도병 볼라니 다당가서 손대 제반나 연어렌지 빌라마나 전대전한 거라 권대 쉬운데 왔지.
So we have to cultivate appropriate motivations. Here, one should begin with not considering a place where you are or the venue where you are as an ordinary venue or the ordinary place, but rather, if possible, one should imagine this as a celestial mansions of those great beings, where the great beings are residing, such as Buddha Shakyamuni, visualizing the Buddha, in other words, the Buddha Shakyamuni, visualizing before oneself, surrounded by all those lineage gurus of Lam Rim.
다 된주긴 된들래래요네. 단 차랑이 가르치고 있어서 좋아지고 소아이나. 근데 타협이 선제 탕지기 된다네. 조비 상지지 공부도 비체도. 근데 대령 선제 몽부 수요지기 된다게 제게 있어 되니. 냥도랑게 전체 포마지 선제 나냥도 여봐하지.
Having visualized Buddha in front of oneself, before oneself, in other words, and what will I be doing today, being myself in the presence of the Buddhas and those great beings? So, answer to this question is to now, may I receive these teachings of the sublime Dharma to gain state of enlightenment for the benefit of all other sentient beings. In other words, I'm here being myself in the presence of the Buddha and the great beings to benefit infinite sentient beings, entire sentient beings. So therefore, one visualizes that one is surrounded by all those sentient beings.
예. 다른 것을 가만 손쓰지 미바체. 아니 단당에 라고나게 동부쪽이 됐어요. 야보체. 아니 딘진 라게 딘탈라니 산야보치지. 딘지기 가만히 손치. 그래서 당이다.
So let's spend 2 to 3 minutes of meditating on it by visualizing the object of refuge before oneself, and then one is being oneself in the presence of those objects of refuge, and one is then visualizing oneself is surrounded by all other sentient beings.
당한 속에 되는 경로 치바진이네. 다 가르치기 있어서는 가서 내가 질린 죽으러 와 샤와 질린 죽으러 와라나.
So with these motivations, on the basis of cultivating such motivations, one is then engaging in certain activities. So what kind of activities that we are engaging, having cultivated appropriate motivations?
간 샤와는 줘야 샤와도 춘추 많이 봐. 아니 라진선제 타지기 된첨부지 루와 인자는 되게 된첨부도 루발에 동부랑기 시고. 네 시발에 토고. 네 대시되는 거. 네 투비치다 세고라. 다 간제 투비 된다라는 거 간단다. 가서 되면 투비 중심부절에 전해적이요 세라지.
So now, so we are receiving these teachings. It's not something that is, meaningless, but rather it has a great meaning to it. Because the teaching that we are receiving can work for the welfare of entire sentient beings, to fulfill the wishes of the purpose of all sentient beings. So therefore, in order for me to work for the welfare of other sentient beings, to fulfill the purpose of other beings, I must first know how to fulfill their purpose. In order to know how to fulfill their purpose, I must first listen to the teachings. So therefore, with this, motivations and aspirations, you then receive these teachings of the Dhamma.
된리지 정도야니 지신지시 송원이 세워나게 라니게 냥len제네 제 따와진데 체네 아니 시지말로바 댄상에게 아니 상조랑저린 바 아생데.
So teaching that we are receiving here is whatever the spiritual realization that has been actualized by those great beings in the past, and they have shared their spiritual realizations and composed this wonderful text with an immaculate text to teach us. So therefore, the teaching that we are receiving we're receiving the teachings based on the spiritual realizations realized by the great beings of the past.
토마조베 산지 잔데데게서 바드 자가게 벤루나진 애니 냥슬레 애니 데니 텔라페 애니 타르 은뼈 간쟁이 저기 집부터 한번 나지 애니 준네 텔라페 비게니 좀 신드네 자와치미 좀지.
This precious teaching that we are receiving is given by given by the Buddha Shakyamuni, then transmitted to the great Indian Pandits, Indian scholars or the masters, then transmitted to the Tibetan masters and scholars. So therefore, it is a very precious teaching that we are having such a wonderful opportunity to be able to receive these teachings, unbroken lineage of the teachings.
다든지 좀 자체보다 전해져 원래 다진 가서 경로제야 되게니 니시지 다시 와서 된대가지.
So with this, we have covered one of the important outlines, which is Nyenshi Jidarjawa, the manner in which you receive the teachings and listen to the teachings.
당아서 저희 사지지 봐. 담방을 좀 하면 저다지 림바스네. 담마서 간지제는 상제살에 치고여서 아니 돈벌랑지 자와 개겐데 대쇼스. 되네. 아니 좀나 전해제 쇼스.
So here, then another important outlines of the Lam Rim Chenmo, stages to the path of enlightenment, is the sequence in which the disciples are to be taught the actual instructions, which will then be followed by the two sub-outlines. Those are the relying upon authentic teachers, which is the root of spiritual path, and having relied upon the spiritual teachers, how to train ourselves, how to train our mind.
뒤지는 가서 카랑로로네 차라리 가는 것도 인베스는 좋아지 동안이나 도망에 개겐세다 된 바지 때 아니 제타 손바나게 냐내 전에는 상제 살로 로긴세데 다 말로 전로를 시키고로.
So here now, if you were to ask the questions, how do you really engage in such a practice to embark oneself upon on the path or spiritual path? Here, the first, it is important to rely upon the authentic teacher, the qualified teachers, and having relied upon the teachers, one must delightfully cultivate a resolute intention of receiving the teachings of the Dharma.
당가 사지 로기다. 다 담방고 절로마 지대트 림발니 랑지 사와시니 템비세다 텐노로 지다자이 림바니 다 동보리 다 텐노로 지다자이 림발니 데데나 님볼니 비시고 와다 님보 제단네 비시니 다 동보리사 다 님보 제단네 비시들라니 랑지 나자는 바제바다 님볼니 츠모리 다 동보리사 다 님볼니 츠모데라 송리 지베 중간도 대모양 랑지를 마냐슬렌지 지베 린도 대모양 랑지를 지베 쳔비 랑지를 마냐슬렌지 다 대송전노는 가 속거스 봐봐 지베 쳔비 랑지를 마냐슬렌지 세도다 사지 노도지라쇼다.
So we are on the chapter of the great deities on the stages of the path for the great capacity, or the person of the great capacity.
다 집에 침배 랑제를 마냐슬렌지 송리 티바 쳔볼란 주비고 센제 코나덴바 센데 제다 집이지 센제는 셔볼로 호스스.
The stages of the path for the person of great capacity has three parts or three sections, such as the showing that developing the spirit of enlightenment is the only entrance to Mahayana, and how to develop a spirit of enlightenment, how to learn the Bodhisattva's deeds after developing the spirit of enlightenment.
당가서 고대와시네 티바 쳔보 인데 미다서데 가르세나 아니 상추기 생에 메다거로 다 상추기 생데 간디지 거래선 데리 당가서 사지.
So in brief, if we were to ask ourselves, how do you really consider yourself or the oneself as a practitioner of the Mahayana? So whether or not one can be considered as a practitioner of the Mahayana is depend upon whether or not one has cultivated bodhicitta or awakening minds. So therefore, at this particular chapter of the great capacity, we were on the particular chapter of expounding the cultivation of bodhicitta.
주단 저와는 게 디젤로도 나기 사제 등이 뭐 개첨 뭐 쇼이지래 사제 되게 단다 청소제 영으로 그래서 강지 정에나 라레 저당 샤간 정에들이나 사제 지자체는 거는 주바도 강지는 줘야 돼 사제로는자 아니 사제 반에 전에 아니 미고 전에 롱에들에도
So I often mention and encourage to memorize those outlines, the important outlines, because it really helps us to practice in a very proper sequence of Lam Rim practice. If we were to, meditate upon the Lam Rim, so we cannot really go through the entire text at one session of meditations. So therefore, if you're able to memorize those outlines, then you can, meditate by following those outlines in a proper sequence.
당가 카투 사제 받으러다. 다 대치 센집이 세던 일 저강나 되네 제가다 센장비를 봐지. 네 가서 네 센집이 조가종 세지. 다 되는 동보들 센집이 세던 양일이 마 센장비를 봐니리. 아니 조어첨번의 집이 맛이 된대고는 상주 생장지 아니 제서 쇼와라는 집이 다시냐 주고는 상주 생장지 세대 저희 생장지 되지 괜히 달라서.
So to teach the cultivation, how to cultivate awakening mind or the bodhicitta, there are two different lineages of practicing or the cultivating bodhicitta or awakening mind. One is from the great masters of Atisha, which is emphasized on the sevenfold cause and effect meditation. And then other one is the equalizing and exchanging self with others, which is teaching that is teaching given by the great master of great Indian master by the name of Shantideva.
Tiji tengi bacha. Shanchu sen jansi sede ganja ziterwa. Ganja zitel kanini yore san sosa loso na tenyi indi jibi jibani yore. Tenyi ino na takarasi de shendo sana tananga sukasu pabu ma shitende gone shanchu sen jansi de shendo.
So when speaking about developing awakening mind or developing bodhicitta, suddenly we are speaking about meditations. We are speaking about meditating on bodhicitta. So in order to meditate on bodhicitta, we should understand clearly about the two lineages, the two tradition of those the practice of the teachings. So out of the two, at this particular point, we are following the teachings of the sevenfold cause and effect teachings.
Dati no ne shanchu ge sen ma she tenje gone shanchu sen le de sa ji ma su do. Nge renje de nge ba che wa ta ne renje de jang ngo ji ta renje de jang ngo sen ge de la ne jen de tenje je lo jang wa ta shanchu tenje je lo jang wa as. Ta shanchu sen de ba ne de shanchu sen sa la gres. De no ye ta da nga su jen de tenje je lo jang wa sen ge. Ji lo sha na ji pen ayo ko su tenje de ji na nge ba de go de.
So when speaking about the bodhicitta consists of two aspirations, which is something that is very important to understand. Two aspirations are the aspiration to attain working for the welfare of other sentient beings, which is Shendun Dunyegi Dumba, which means working for the welfare of other sentient beings, aspiration to working for the welfare of other sentient beings. And Randun Dunyegi Dumba, Changchup Dunyegi Dumba, which is aspiration to attain state of enlightenment for the purpose of working for the other sentient beings.
The career says on Natsuki Tanda Tatanji Yoroa, any Ranshin Sonji Yawashene, any Ranshu de Jensho, Pama Sengichi, Magasa, any Pamasi de Son Yawashene, do you tell us Koyu Chanadinton, Yaramochi tell us on Dendoro?
So why we have to, develop such a awakening mind is because if you look at ourselves at this point, at this particular situations, if you look at the state of mind, the nature of mind that we have within all of us, and our way of, viewing other sentient beings, the way we actually view other beings, the way we look at other beings, it's a very uneven, in other words. It is not equal. We are unable to look at all beings as equally. Mm-hmm. We have a three way of looking at other beings. One who is considered to be one's own loved ones. Another one is being someone whom you dislike, and then there are another category of beings that the way in which we look at is a neutral, which is neither attachment nor hatred and so forth. So therefore, those are the three kinds of mental attitude that we have towards all other sentient beings. In order to now pacify this state of unevenness of our state of mind with regard to other sentient beings, we engage in the practice of developing bodhicitta. In other words, here, in order to develop bodhicitta, we need to first of all develop in impartiality or the equanimity towards all sentient beings.
Senyamba country do towards and Tanda Yi Pinja, the Susa Gasho Jella, Yi Pinja, and Yi Chichi Sendage, Jensen Gabo Cheg do us. Magasa de la Chana Jensen Sendi Jensen Tumbichi, Magasa Cheg do us. Any Kayan Jawa maybe Chana Yawa to the Chana de Mare, Chana City Toma Mebani, Jame Yungi, Michire, Insan Kangala Charan Jawa Salaward. Tanda do the Shena?
So why it is important for us to, develop equanimity or the impartiality towards all other sentient beings is because if you look at ourselves at this point, we have strong attachment towards one's loved ones because such and such is such, because I have attachment towards such and such person because such and such person is my relatives or someone who's close to me and so forth. And then we have a hostile, feeling towards someone whom you dislike. Then there's another category of the beings that we normally neglect, which is also based on our ignorance. So now here, why we are cultivating bodhicitta is now because we as a sentient beings, it is not that we do not have, we are not related to other beings other than whom you are, whom you love and so forth. But rather you are related to all sentient beings because you have taken a rebirth within this cyclic existence from the beginningless time. Pei de tenal seda sumgel seda sumgel long sumge hitande de mashi de embarmche
Sonja kan shoda yidin god
니게 굴주 고고 쓰는다 건다 이제 굴 건데
ndela sonla
tellanyo batu ko tengaran tanda inji dinara 가서 보이 드라마 셈이 뭐냐 저거
마스터 아
della toma semjen kaji 자신 당원다 다뇽 제거지 dellan
요 넘버 쳤대 만도사 아 안도사 대만도사 del로야 근데 저런 단지 등에 떼었으면
다른 인사
단지 단지가 치대
이동 전주 셈을 전주도 되는 셈이 있고 말이죠.
돈은 sonda
그 되게 되게 세상 кен 맞아. 갑도 레도
도도 근데 되도 내 마시간 받는 데라 손래 데라 손래
이든데 베이 드라마스 때 쉬어.
에 인신 다시 와 인신 다시 괜히 인신 되든
So we are repeating from the cultivating recognition of all beings have we went through that, but then we're going to repeat, which is going to repeat that again.
nge logi da ge ni ma
So
de la ma shi gamba ne son ma shi ne se te ro de la ma shi ne sa ge ni ma ka sa ta ji sho ni ja ta ka sa
숨결 위험해도 숨결 나 단단 걸 나라 라마서
ni ja gu go go
니지 그 고그래 돼.
손자
숨결
전ja ga
숨결 뒤에 있는데 베잖아요, 사례. 이 된다도 나라 라마서.
네
될서 말고만 넣어.
마감만 넣어 될서 네네 다시 안델라 마감만에 안델라 마감만에 코아 토마 메바네 랑게 제와라 토마 메베 나 제와다 시와 주마시에데 세데 아 된다 렐렐로도 고로 데바트 질로 하지
So the cultivating
마시 강고 비진센데레 데다
here the reason why we have to cultivate recognition that all beings are your mother, right? So that's what we will read through this. Because cyclic existence is beginningless. Your births are also without beginning.
코아나 리데 마나 샤와도 쇼데 마체 샤와네 예메라스.
Therefore, you have died and been reborn time and time again.
This
So this needs there is absolutely not no kind of body which have not assumed in cyclic existence.
Malasubi nyedon manjuba medes. Ngi lo shana de hoda to dewa yesa.
La so di ko di parim de tata ling de gyuri ami ko mi gyo go ba. Di che di la
Malasubi nyedon manjuba medes. Sa yingu ji chamba les.
So there's absolutely no place where you have not been reborn, and there is no person who has not been a relative such as your mother's. Asanga's level of yogic deeds states.
Tanga so ngachewa de la manyu sing sacha de la che manyu sing ji mewa yina ani changka mo bo shui ji chando gro.
So if you were to say that, if there's no place that you have not taken a rebirth, there's no such a life form that you haven't been taken a rebirth in certain life form and so forth. If this is the case, then it is irrelevant to say that there's not a single beings who have not been once mother and parents and so forth.
Yurumbo debane kante che macheban da masonga mashi sachone nge matong ma nge thomba ka oche. Yurumbo debana senje kan cho pang ma pinu simo loben ansa kembo lama lami nes majubate nge thomba ka o she sonso zondo taji sheje ilong de chang.
So then here it says, I have difficulty seeing a place wherein we have not been born and gone to or died in the distant past. I have difficulty seeing any person in the distant past who has not been your father, mother, uncle, aunt, sister, master, abbot, guru, or someone like a guru. Sheba
mazesa maoba masheba joa tayebe teta sana range masheba ngeba tembo sewa shate sondes.
Then here it says, moreover, all beings have not only previously been your mothers, but will also be your mothers in the future, a limitless number of times. So reflect upon this and become convinced that all beings have been your mothers.
Dechena tene deyi jenjemba so jehalas machena jenjemba so jibi jemeba joros.
So then here it says, once you develop this conviction, you will then easily remember their kindness and so forth. If you do not develop it, you will have no basis for remembering their kindness. So it is authentic reasoning, isn't it? Because without recognition of other sentient beings as one's mothers, and that's simply not possible for us to remember their kindness.
Tanga senje tachi mayimba kanre soso sede ene senje tachi mayimba shebala ale soso ki jawa thoma meba de dugurwa jawa ngama dugurwa jawa ngama yeba jawa ngashi yeba dugur.
So now here, in order to develop a recognition of all sentient beings as one's mother, then one must establish first of all oneself, one's life as a beginningless. It is a time without beginning, need to be established.
So
when we are establishing such beginningless of one's life and life after death, life after death and so forth, and there's no other means can establish such phenomena, but relying upon the consciousness or the understanding the nature of consciousness. So first we need to examine ourselves, whether so-called consciousness is existing within one's own physical, psychophysical aggregates.
뒤중에서 세리 용다지 자롱 레바 던득이 레가 제거세 대치고 조근도에 델레신비 제진도면도 당 가속이 세네 가서 나처는 시비 던득이 제텔라 10% 단위 제거로 델레신비 제다.
So now what is important for us to investigate ourselves is to, other than nerve or the veins and wind and brain, is there any other substances that exists within us in our psychophysical aggregates? So that is what we need to examine. But according to the Buddha Dharma, we have something that is beyond those substances, which is consciousness. Consciousness is said to be a basis upon which one can establish life after death.
현다파 유셨다는 건 엄복날 냥도라 안생아 시티고로 시바코로 텔레파 차르동아이나.
So then, speaking about consciousness, firstly we talk about the five sense consciousness, isn't it? Which is the gross level of consciousness.
다 딘디게 시바디게 대리게 시비 년년라 가서네 대네 저 하마선다 아미니에도 슈강이 시바데 아니 치카마지 김비지 시비 년년라로 딘디전에 저 통마면 버세고 또 통에 차도 그래 세고잖아.
Because the substantial cause of the second movement of the consciousness must be the substantial, the first the previous consciousness. And there won't be any other phenomena, other than a consciousness can be a substantial cause for the consciousness. So with this kind of reasoning, one can then be able to establish, life after death, the continuity of understanding of the continuity of the existence of the continuum of our consciousness.
다 던지 시바 토마메바이나 토마메바 아니 저와 토마맹에차 저와 토마메나 아니 파마 토만 데네리 키 파만 데레세 개체진이 해야만 선지지기 장하양 탐해버려서요. 저와내 봐요.
So then if you're able to to understand the consciousness is beginningless, which will then enable you to understand the beginningless of one's life. And if one is able to understand the one's beginningless of one's life, will then enable one to understand the reason for recognition of all other sentient beings as one's mother. Not only that they have been one's parents one or two times, but in numerous times.
다티네다. 더 선제단지 소속이 된 아마이나 아마데 진천보 간레레서나 아니 진짜 감마데 세터 고아데다. 아미티 간데 탱그레스.
So having cultivated the recognition of all beings as one's mother, one then cultivates the remembrance of the kindness of one's mother.
다주 배선로다도 배선의 세고시 되어야
So it's pretty clear in the Lam Rim text itself.
가슴 산전대로에 전혀 감만해지. 다 선제 탄체 마감비 오더서 토마 센디 마가나 제라와 보도의 시바다 감바 샤데 손도.
So cultivating remembrance of their kindness. So Podava said that after you have recognized that all living beings are your mothers, you will quickly remember their kindness. If at first you cultivate a remembrance of your mother's kindness in this lifetime.
또 대중 가서 건강 최종 가서 집안인로 또 선제 단체에서 배드 난칸는 이유셔 소리지만도 지 미비 대소 미비 소리지 차 대도 그러 당가서 지 가서 란레 지는 또 있잖아 란레 동에 있나 아니 선제 단체에서 되지 고주는 란레 지도 그러.
So when speaking about all sentient beings, we should not just by saying all sentient beings and not having any special feeling towards them. But rather now here, when speaking about the sentient beings, we should begin with, identifying all the sentient beings, and have some kind of, special feeling towards those sentient beings. This is how you begin one's practice of cultivating the recognition of all other sentient beings as one's mother. So here, this, according to this Lam Rim Chenmo, where it says, but remembrance of your mother's, the mother's kindness in this lifetime. So to begin here now, in its English translation, it says cultivating a remembrance of their kindness. So here in the original text where it says meditating on the remembrance of their kindness, that is what it means. So here we should begin with meditating. So meditating by following the instructions given in this particular text. So therefore it says, do so in accordance with his presentations as follows. Then here it says, imagine your mother clearly in front of you. Think the following a few times. Not only has she been my mother at present, but she has been so an incalculable number of times without beginningless cyclic existence.
So here,
So this is how we begin to think about all sentient beings as one's own mothers, by reflecting upon the beginningless of one's own life, as well as the beginningless of the life of all other sentient beings, which enables you to understand that they had not been the mother at one time, but also at numerous times. So here, as your mother, she protected you from all harms and provided you all benefits and happiness. So this is the paragraph that we are reading is to cultivating a remembrance of the kindness of one's mother, and beginning from the remembrance of the kindness of one's kindness in the mother's kindness in this lifetime, right? That we have already talked about earlier. So it says, particularly in this lifetime, she carried you for a long time in her womb, mother's womb, and then when you were a helpless newborn infant, she helped you to the warmth of her flesh and bounds you on the tips of her 10 fingers, and she suckled you at her breast and used her mouth to give you a soft food and to remove mucus from your nose and use her hand to wipe away your excrement. And so in various ways she nurtured you tirelessly.
Let's
take a 15 minutes break, tea break here.
So you be show me do zhang zhe ro li zhe nian de jian bo de sang jie xian du mi de bi wo yi ro ge no do xian lo shu bo shu yi dang gu ru mi de la ga na yan da ya mi ya 다 세대 아마경가 손을 편도 제동 단지 시행 봐. 소소부 아미게는 내비 내거라 아미 깔래 저와데 같이 시면 거지. 아마 정도 쉬어서 관계 차는 부거들 내면서는 아마게 배 겔레네 되고로 이제 희슈자고 말이야.
So the mother's kindness of this lifetime, in fact, that doesn't really require much explanation because we all have experience, right? Right from the beginning, Mother has taken us in our womb and taken care of us. Sorry.
당간 손으로 저랑이 나와 제기는라 그자데 예발을 그거가 돈은 되는 그래서는 색깔 그거 말어. 맞아 가게에나 아메 인가 쇼편도 제가 매기성이 되게 손을 너무도 이제다 만들고다 아메에도 대비네 걸로 아메 강에 찍고다 아메 세외 정도 거로 이제 희저 도르라.
If we can, think very carefully, we'll be really amazed by the way that we are really taken care by our mother. At the moment that you have conceived in your mother's home, Mother has taken care of us, even the cost of her own life.
맞세비 되거라 dimne 장조 진에 메다와데不생해와데 바쁘 장지마도 명예지기로와 그 야나 까마 찌장을 신동이지 아니 아메 라상 샤르를 자거리 송도와.
So this is how the mother actually, due to her love, we have nurtured under the caring and loving condition of our mother, because at the moment that we were born, we're little helpless in a creature, but this is taken care by one's mother, and we are nurtured under her, loving and caring activities.
단 너저도 시면 거지. 아니 실라 칼라던데 제나야 카게 되네. 로아 라바디기 두자 차민로 사는 진네. 칼라 카기 제발서도.
So we have read through that, even use her mouth to give you a soft food and remove your mucus from our nose and so forth. And cleaning our excrements and so forth.
다 센데지요로 다 차로에서는 센데지를 돈로에서 센데 이제는 아마 코노 베들로 돈당이 차고로.
So just by sacrificing her own life to nurture and take care of their child.
장기 제마라와 제네 요새 강가 부거토로 봉능이 들어와.
So it says, and she gave from her wealth those things which are very dear to herself.
Tati login da shinji tantoa yoshi tena sara dela to nye ne minchi sa di dan du dan tang dan seje sha tang tang do zene shin ba yin so de. Yoshi tena chiro.
So moreover, when you were hungry and thirsty, and gave you food and drink, when you were cold, clothes, when you were poor, she gave from her wealth those things which are which were very dear to her. Even more, what she gave to you were not things that she had obtained easily, but that she has secured through great hardship while engaging in wrongdoings and receiving all ill repute and sufferings.
Da bugu ki tanda la pame togo tansun lo tong war sondwa ro togo tansun lo tong kale jane bugu tanda la.
For the kids, parents sacrifice their own fooding, shelter, clothing, and so forth.
Da deso kari chegor se sona nga so lane to nge na soso ki ma den den sana to ani ma te ki soso tanda la calendar jaba de sana to di ma le tsewa le gro ma ki soso tanda kale jaba de shewe.
So if one is the Lam Rim practitioners, and one should begin one's practice with this by reflecting upon the kindness of one's mother and cultivating a remembrance of the kindness of one's mother.
다 상주기 센세이데 테바치모지 로고고야나 랑간딘 로고 테마도 이니 이게 가는 민행보지 찍고 사나도나 소소를 계속 기라이메와 라니지 마도나와.
So if one has a genuine desire to practice bodhicitta, become oneself as practice cultivating bodhicitta, to become oneself as the Mahayana practitioners, this is the path that we need to embark upon. So without which it is not possible one to become a Mahayana practitioners.
Do tayin loginda. Bala nansala subi dunghe chona, ani bechola ranchewa, ranchena gawache. Benawale ranana gawa. Bedubale randuba samba tabane ni danshin sir.
So here it says, if you suffer from illness, pain, or threat of death, your mother made the choice from the depth of her heart that she would rather be sick than you be sick. She would rather be in pain than you be in pain. So she would rather die than you die. By putting this feeling into actions, she did what was needed to alleviate these troubles.
Joate sevi toshi ba yinchi. Dona rangi shetse dansa nyutse je pende kanyi ju. Nyoba da dongye sewa shibi tsu nana zeji de semba oson do ter. Do dina?
In short, it says, contemplate one-pointedly how your mothers provided help and happiness and cleared away harm and suffering to the best of her knowledge and ability.
Teta gambe esa, bi lo tsizam mimba shi jeba na, tene pala su bin zashe dan jenlang ma sheba shela asa, teta gam sunde der.
So then it says, by cultivating a remembrance of your mother's kindness, you will not remember it just in words. Once you have given rise to such remembrance, recognize that other friends and relatives, such as your father are your mothers, and cultivate a remembrance of their kindness.
Tati kapogora, gang shu jembo jana, ami tendriki tsendiki amadala tsewa bede 가든 당에 가르치고 상행이 선바슈 전부지 해서나 아니 텔라 빼자네 아니 니기 단다 전쟁이 파대다 대양 아니 지왕 하면서 니 아마도 집에 지장을 다른 깔려져 줘래 아니 세네 되게 카파거네 아니 랑게 얘기 된다 가
The first way one engages in the practice of cultivating the kindness by reflecting upon the kindness of one's present mother, one's the mother of this lifetime, and when one is able to stabilize such meditations, one can then shift these meditations by reflecting upon one's father, who has been one's mother in one's past life numerous times. Similarly, one can then shift this meditation to all other beings, including one's friends and relatives and so forth.
this person 제라고 차사를 그래서 뒤가는 마시 gamba데 슈첨벌 했잖아 이니 카포 추추로와 전전바데
So first practice of recognition of all sentient beings as one's mother, then it won't be that difficult to follow the next steps of the meditations.
라리 제다 된데 놀로라 지 라이년조 gamba당 하장 gamba당 된저기 예당점의 gam비 내가 자네 마실에 소벌 깔려져 있어라다 한도 팀바 라네 또야 봐 라지레 제야 봐
So in other Lam Rim teachings that the masters have strongly emphasized on meditating on this recognition of all beings as one's mother, rather than engaging in the practice of deity yoga and engaging in practice of self-generations and so forth. Rather than it is far more better. It's more practical. In fact, it says more practical to meditate upon the recognition of all the other sentient beings as one's mother.
단다가 소 계시셔야 되는데 되니 대생이 되니 비소리 지어다 단다 응비 내슬 라니 노티 주셔야 돼 라니 기탄다로.
So if you look at those texts, because meditating on the recognition of all other sentient beings as one's mother, at the first glance, we may feel that it's for the benefit of others. But if you look very carefully, it is the benefit of one's own self. The practice of recognition of other mother sentient beings, all sentient beings as one's mother, which ultimately benefits us.
당가서 라니기 땐데 대치 주에게 터대로 고함에 선제 통제 계시셔야지 선제 통제 개인에서는 선제 통제로 원소도 계셔셔도 때 소소 라렘이 들으면도 된다 대화도 소소 된다로.
If one really engages in the practice properly and diligently, one will then be able to see the benefit that we received out of meditating on those bodhicitta and compassion and so forth.
텔라데는 베네 제스 쇼라기 말해베 산제의 선제님보다 라니를 편도체 지바인바 간실라 산제기 편반도 선제 여와데 가레인비게 잘했으니 가전은 비슷 소에로.
So in the Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life, Bodhicitta Charavatara by Shantideva stated that why we revere and have great devotion to the Buddhas and not to the sentient beings. So far as receiving the benefits to us is concerned, both Buddhas and the sentient beings are equally a benefactor of us.
근데 그 고아만에는 상추 센스의 젠다기 단다 주변에서 고아 전전랜드는데 소소의 시주된 재미 자로.
So we really have to think very carefully and should not think that practicing bodhicitta is to welfare of other beings only.
this 내가 참고체. 네 대다가 대나지 대로다. 대내 밤에 선전을 셰바샬라 밤에 선전나자 마시바샬라 강지. 대라 자신다 로제바나 자나나 마시 이 감바샤 감바샤와라서 마시 정시 가서 맞아 셰바 셰라 강체.
So then to do the same with the person towards whom you have neutral feelings. Once you have produced an attitude towards them which is similar to how you feel towards your friends, then recognize that your enemies are your mothers and cultivate a remembrance of their kindness.
당가서기 자다니에게 바마세데 뒤서 통통지다로와 메시지기 산난지마도 코고야 말어. 맞서세데 데레모도 뒤서는 토마민도 소속이 이니 가서 나생에 되는 토마메바 영샤 전지 장반의 토마민도 된주기 장카 타는 거 산나지 동선다 소속이 통통 산나동데 베드 노치쇼데샤스.
So now, most of the time, and our way of considering someone being one's own, friends and relatives, and someone who's helpful to oneself, and someone being one's own, enemies, and being a neutral person, and so forth, are really based on a very narrow perspective. Our narrow perspective, the way we look at it, is very narrow. We are looking at them in a very narrowly. So that's why we are unable to, develop a recognition of their kindness. But if you really think very carefully and think about the beginningless of our life, will then enables you to understand and how all those beings whom we really think as your enemy are relative to yourself in the past, in your previous lives, numerous times.
지세 제다 산나도나요. 세디기 지고라 산나동에나 세대기 잘라 아니 세메기니에 최대라자. 네 타는 파마지기 무슨 춘절로 파트 세레젠데 정도어리 인제 주능에 되면도.
So it is very clear that if you look at even within one lifetime, within this brief lifetime, someone may become one's very close friend in the earlier part of one's life, may become a very, bad enemy of yours in your later part of your life. Even among the brothers and sisters, becomes enemy and, kill each other, in fact. So therefore, if you really look at, narrowly, then it is, we are really not looking at them, in an appropriate way. So we are not having a proper way of looking at other sentient beings. Rather, our way of looking at other sentient beings are based on a very narrow perspective.
된주기 된지는 명예질라 된지 대화주에 터질라 and get the chimbuji 가르치는 건지 저거래 세계 너버는지도.
So this is then, we can really, we will be convinced by saying this way of looking at other beings, narrowly looking at other beings, really serves as an impediment or the most, principal obstacles for achievement of one's state of enlightenment.
로이나. 텔라 마단저이 로지비 세사 슈지 선제 탕제라 마시바 혼도 땅 렌지 자체체데 땅 가모 소도 되시.
When you have an attitude towards your enemies, that is the one you have towards your mother, then recognize that all beings in the 10 directions are your mothers. And then gradually, and with increasing intensiveness, cultivate a remembrance of their kindness.
던델레 산나도는 가장에나 림바코노 송샤도 동보두스제니 디우스쇼니 데네쇼 아니 갈레두스 제쇼세네 베트 로 제달 개체적으로 배선을 말려야지 또
If one really wants to practice and meditate on this, you can meditate by following these instructions. The instructions that are given very clearly and very lucidly, so that you can follow by reading those texts and meditate upon.
대야 진세진의 맹연들 출루 개천의 제나다 제거해 주는 여 말을 러고요 아니 제거 말이 공업이 내세면은 제거 말이지.
So if it doesn't really correspond to reality, then I always encourage that you don't really have to do. You don't have to do this just because only upon a religious belief. It's not something that is religious belief. But here, if you really examine very carefully, you will see how practical they are and how relevant those practices are.
nepa mina men thong maro karchen. Nepa mina men thong maro dada teng ma karchen. Nepa mina.
Oh, let's. So if one is not if you're not suffering from any sickness, then taking medicine doesn't make much sense.
먼저 나만 쳐봐서 라니 제반집이 쪼네기 난더러. 쪼네든 되는 나래 쪼네디.
Just if you, as it is mentioned in the Lama Chepa, right? The abbreviate, the Lam Rim verse that we all are familiar with, where it says, we are suffering from the chronic diseases of self-cherishing mind. So the self-cherishing mind is the chronic disease, which we all are suffering from.
쪼네 되면도 조강가 코인 받에 셰바잖아요. 조조 동수 세데 내년 고츠는 조조 동거.
So therefore it says now, how do we really eradicate this self-cherishing, this chronic disease? The chronic diseases can be uprooted by following the stages of the meditation that is mentioned in the Lam Rim Chenmo.
되지라. 그래서 상추기 생각을 로 집에는 거좀 나리 침을 질러셔야 돼. 질lun도. 로. 되는 먼저 제 상추 생기 팬으로도 가야나. 소소다 소소를 계속 걸어 당가서 간가.
So therefore you should always not only following this Lam Rim Chenmo alone, but also you have a lot of different sources, the benefits of meditating on bodhicittas, and the result that we may gain out of meditating on bodhicittas and so forth. Both very, very beneficial if you can read all the sources of the benefits of Lam Rim Chenmo. Sorry, the bodhicitta.
더 상추 선반하지 상추기 센세디 투당 이태든 저라. 당에 상추 센마도다 간년에 개개 제금이 다데 간이 년에 제금이나 가요나 살로서나 아니 나리 첨모는 상추 센시비 카도 가정어 안되는 mongozu 강자다.
So, the practice of bodhicitta is said to be the sole practice of all the Dharma. So if one really have a genuine aspiration to cultivate bodhicitta or to actualize bodhicitta, one must then begin from meditating on this the stages of the meditation by following the instructions of the Lam Rim Chenmo.
정로지 상추선을 최내라마 최내여던 최내 칸도 선에 칸가 상추선을 자셔 손셔요나.
So His Holiness Dalai Lama has once mentioned that when bodhicitta can be one's guru, bodhicitta can be one's a meditational deity, bodhicitta can be one's dakas and dakinis, and bodhicittas can be one's protector deities and so forth.
또 telnyane chichenge yana tan gochi zuguro tangason gochi zunmado.
If one have a desire to achieve such a precious mind, which is awakening mind or the bodhicitta, one must then begin. One should, take an initiative of engaging in such a practice.
다 맛이 된되는 것주는 마도 다견야 주고는 것주는 가서 용토 코로야 말이.
So here it is more practical for us as initial practitioners to following the practice of the sevenfold cause and effect, rather than equalizing and exchanging self with others.
마고 유유마서 나라 가서 라니지 또 들어와. 또 해와도 야한데 다시 내주고는서 통그래다. 수수구자건만 되는 강전의 용 따그러와.
So although when we listen to the explanation of the cultivation of bodhicittas, or the two traditions that we talked about earlier. One is the sevenfold cause and effect, and another one is equalizing and exchanging self with others. When you listen to the explanations, or it is far more, kind of, how do you say, practical for us, the equalizing and self-cherishing, equalizing and exchanging self with others. Yet at the same time, then if you really sit yourself on the cushion and meditate, then exchanging self with others is far more difficult to meditate.
당한서 다시 제가 지나 오는 대응을 해더라. 변화 소소게 소소래 소소 아마니데 소소 이야와도는 아마 체드니는 생겨 이제 생각 통그래. 통투고 말해. 맛이 되네 로마잖아. 로 오늘 전에 다시 제바세소나 신체 강요로 질 미바체다로. 대노는 소소 센다니제도 소소 아마제다. 라니 제체잘로도는 제체자 아미기 된다 내가 가르치는 제도 그래. 로.
So without going through the practice of the sevenfold cause and effect, one will not be able to have a sense of caring and sense of connectedness with one's mother, let alone all sentient beings, but even one's, the present mother, in other words. So therefore, if one is able to engage in the practice of following the practice of the sevenfold cause and effect, practice will then enables one to recognize, not only that recognizing that all beings as one's own mother, but also enables you to remember their kindness. So then practice of self, exchanging with self is something that is not easy at all.
딜라 소소 저와유비 찬네 소소된 저와유비 찬네 소소 용콩기 찬네야 제시전의 선언을 해요디 마시 전제고는 로해야데 땡와요리 진세요 마와 시에토고리 라니라 선언도 마와요.
So for us, following the practice of the sevenfold cause and effect is more effective, and also have more reasonings, and it is more suitable for our spiritual practice.
디기 진생이 다전냐 주고는 상축이 생장제데 가담비 가담 체크하고 받을 배도 고쳐제네. 로시마도 소시제는 메제네 자와디 진세대로.
It is for this reason, up until the Geshe Tsongkapa, this practice of exchanging with self, equalizing and exchanging with self with others, are done on the basis of secrecy. It is kept very secretly. That this particular teachings is given a particular disciples only. It is not given publicly. The teachings are not given publicly.
당가서 진짜와지 따로 진짜보 때문에 다 파기 틀린지고로 원나 다 틀린 가는 지고로 살아와이나 양 강적으로 다디 다 진소도 강반에 세대 로인다.
So
된다도 지시셔.
So now, not only it is sufficient to remembering the kindness of all mother sentient beings, but now we need to think about repaying their kindness. So this will be then for, the next chapter will explain about.
딜 강저만 넣어도 강갈 강저 간디적을 강저 간 넣어도 알아다.
So in the text it always says, meditating the wish to repay your mother's kindness, but cultivating.
이제 대다 지시 폰배 뭐마 셔바자마 또 봐서 다게 마 진진 동해신서 점에버 되는 지메도 돈에 rani koale cheta sheba tele che chungwa mede loma trimbale.
So cultivating the wish to repay your mother's kindness. This beings, your kind mothers, whom you do not recognize due to the process of death and birth, are suffering and have no refuge. There's nothing more shameful than to you your best to liberate yourself from cyclic existence while considering these beings your mothers, unimportant and abandoning them. So Chandragurmi's letter to student states.
되게 계속 가르쳤나. 맞아 하나 선제 타죠. 나이 아마 있는 게 가르치는 거 시고요 말이라나. 아니 지와 제mol로비 젠젠네. 로아. 제시 된주기 제mol로 젠는 거만 시바레스.
Why we are not being able to recognize all other sentient beings as one's own mother? It is due to the process of death and rebirth. We have gone through the cycle of process of death and rebirth in numerous times.
오늘 된주기 마이나 아마 데스 점에 번거만 버텐지나 데스 유샤가제 아니 소소 대화 강용아 제와데다 취매 시위지로 왔어.
So it is really shameful that if we really let those mothers undergo sufferings and look for your own liberations.
아마 가사 제마 레지인 니 가사 니도 거의 장수 콘치 바지 콘스 추 같이 주 바지 롱게 나도 후아 다번 당신도 제신 풍이 뭐마 셰바 대본에 게데 지다시나 될라 추보메 제소지
So the Chandragurmi's letter to a student states, well you see that your relatives are engulfed in the ocean of cyclic existence and are as if fallen into a pit of fire. There is nothing more shameful than to work for your own liberations, neglecting those whom you do not recognize due to the process of death and rebirth.
당가서 이 거의 내다데 메시를 마도로와 데로와 가사 나가 동해기 발로와 레니지 거의 장소노라 나게 동해기 발로기 요능이 된르게 냥타게 저명 선지증 당가서 강가 차도래로.
So if you look at and try to recognize the nature of cyclic existence, we all sentient beings are engulfed within the wave of suffering, of sickness, aging, death, and so forth.
텔레코데와시나 단신 짜짜 타이부스지 로아.
So if we explain lucidly, we are trapped within the still cage of self-grasping mind.
말이 많이 미박겠는데.
And smothered by the pitch black ignorance.
동해손지 진심에 봐나.
Undergoing continuously the suffering, three types of sufferings.
된주기 아마데다 로아 제도에는 상 유샤와나 간지그리세 저로스 전체가 아마데스. 된주기 난등이 전체가 아마데스.
How can we think about it is appropriate to let go of all mother sentient beings who are undergoing such sufferings?
된주지를 소속의 랑도게네 준비지 제 소속 라완데서 영예지에나 되서기 내가 먼저 로션다도 은에 제도 지추에 계셔 마시나 체면 쉬우지로.
So it is really shameful, even not speaking about a religious perspective, but even if you look at as a human beings, our day-to-day, relationship one's parents and mothers, if they undergo such sufferings, if you see their sufferings, if you neglect and not helping them, not willing to help them, isn't that really a shameful?
제소지 대나스 로긴다. 대나 대답이 진짜 도안에 마르나나 미리베타게 수다 갈라티 냥도 산에서 진례감비 쿠존데 데니레 손데 진례 고이 쿠존.
So it says, therefore reflect if abandoning such kind beings in unsuitable even for disreputable persons, how could it be appropriate in my case, and then assume the responsibility to repay their kindness, the same text states.
더 선나 동서 질하소 된지 강에 트닝에 지나 아까가 강에 될 타토기 토된도 대등에 제고를 내 제는데 지금 말해서 이게 딜로데 용고로 당가서 주는 손대 줄로데.
So when we meditate on those repaying their kindness, we should cultivate a state of mind that not only they're remembering their kindness, but I must do something to repay their kindness. I must, take a responsibility to repay their kindness.
강기 코난 되게 내시시 강게 제위 센주 쇠젠데랑바 녀모데다 동해 제미 데포네 로아 마르 타시시 나 스시 조 제당 어디
The infant, it says the infant on the mother's lap cannot do anything. It suckles milk with the flow through love. And while through that same love, the mother endures many hardships, who even among the very disreputable would like to abandon his or her mothers. So who even among the most disreputable wants to leave and abandon those who provided a home, who carefully looked after the child with compassion, and who are afflicted without refuge and suffering.
대니 이대로 단지 가는 집에 제자리 소설의 편도 전부다 샴버 전지 장에 되다 아니 여와도 내잖아요. 캐파시시기 때라 야본 용어를 살라 그래서지로.
So it is not appropriate at all that if we were to abandon someone who has been very kind to oneself.
그래서 스시 쪼지 제당사 얘들 타여버도 레장사 신제 대다 마리비 도바사 삼바기비 로저제 파다 베나 파르카사 파다 벤지라 나제 달라 니크셰베 펜다바 대다 땅네 집타바셰바 대다 수미 시 델리 추진 로와 고미 네타 질리 멜란타 제송소 송도들
So then praise to the infinite qualities, for it is not my way to liberate myself, but abandoning these beings whose blind ignorance ruins their intelligence, and who are my fathers and children, serving and lovingly helping me, and thinking this, I make aspirational prayers to liberate those protectors beings.
당한 속에로와 단지 내제 소속의 전쟁이 파마지 산나동의 진천보이 산나동 다들 진리 간의 제거로서 콜로 로봇 제발 그 강의 식으로 뒤된다래. 단단 강의 송고요.
In order to repay their kindness, and in order to help other beings, prior to helping the individual, we should know what help is needed. In other words, what kind of problem that such a person is having. So therefore, by understanding and recognizing their problems or their problematic situations, one can then take initiative of overcoming that problematic situation.
더 장신世界 가서도 나도 어떠서 아니 강에 가리노는 치열이에서 로에나 내 단지로 임바 단지 자지기 당등에 아니 마리비 마통이지 아니 동해선 지체면 등에게 선체들이 인간 스스 산나 동소나 이 콜레 니제네 제사리 로봇이 제거 전사로.
So here now we all, as sentient beings, all the unenlightened beings, we are all undergoing a similar kind of sufferings, being encaged in the steel cage, or in other words, being trapped in the iron cage, steel cage, and completely blinded by the ignorance, and continuously undergoing suffering, undergoing three types of sufferings, tormented by the three kinds of sufferings. And so it is completely not appropriate that if we are unable to have a compassion towards those beings who are undergoing the tremendous amount of sufferings.
Tindrigi sanato di labanja se chirma jen so pamande ji sanato intele tsende togo tansong chi pen challenge ge san jibo de san so na de ta de marwa kange de ani mari byong ge khoa de la hong khoa de la ta to jing nge pa de che go in je to ba shen je lo do so ma la ta ba chen je la ani ro mi ne chuma to ba le ba ba dang ba chen je ma jong ba do gang je ne mi ba mo ma lo po ju men do.
So here now, repaying the mother's kindness, not narrowly thinking to repay their kindness by, reflecting upon the help or the assistance they have provided us in this lifetime, such as food, shelter, wealth, and so forth. But rather think about all those kindness that they have provided, the assistance that they have provided us through their kindness, and lovingly and caringly that they have provided, tremendous amount of help to all of us. So now those mother beings who are undergoing tremendous amount of suffering within this cyclic existence, we must take an initiative of working for the welfare of all sentient beings. So speaking about working for the welfare of other beings, not only to repay their kindness of this lifetime, but to free them from cyclic existence, or establishing them to the state of liberations. This is how we should meditate, continuously until that the tears would roll down through your cheeks, and the pores of your hairs will stand up.
Tendrige lane to ganjange de rangi dunje nanga tenjela kasinge jila sare temba tubyang bo yenere choshen yenere ji dunje swata da barwa ti nguna ne ge jewde dunde la ne yala de bengo na sajang je yang ganja yang tende chene sonde chene rogro.
So then one must engage in such meditations while visualizing the Lam Rim Teachings, right? The mirrored field of Lam Rim Chenmo, and in the presence of the mirrored field of Lam Rim Chenmo, one can then follow those, meditations in a proper sequentially.
Tendo lane to nge na ma shi chen na ma jinggo ne ju ba de yang mi na ji de man ro yang mi ba so karing go ne ja ge na de la de su jin re tang yang go go me na yang pe san na pan ro sa na tang yang gang je ne ta ge to ba ji le chen na ro no tu se re ta ke ta chen na.
So if one long to achieve realizations of the bodhicitta, not just understanding the text, not just gaining a textual understanding, but if one long to achieve spiritual realization of bodhicitta, one must then follow those meditations, beginning from recognition of all sentient beings as one's mother. In other words, by following the instructions of the sevenfold cause and effect.
당가서 통마면 번에 단답아도 로아 내린 차당이 로디제네 아니 차당이 영어도 손에 단답받을 하데 샤스 다른 게 차당이 님이 되셔서 아니 선제 탕지 아니 당년 단에 아니 선제 탕지게 된주네 조비 상제제 고번 영원인데 더바지 지전에 작은 제네 번되는 수비 라마나지 신절라도 소선 아니 공화자다.
So let's do the dedication by thinking that from the beginning, let's time up until now, that I have remained under the domination of those attachment and aversion, and due to this attachment and aversion, I haven't been able to cultivate equanimity or the impartiality towards all sentient beings. Henceforth, having understood how inappropriate it is to have such a mental attitude towards other sentient beings, I must now, from now on, I must cultivate impartiality and equanimity towards all other sentient beings, and engage in the practice of the developing bodhicitta to gain the state of enlightenment as swift as possible. So may all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in the 10 directions bless me to be able to do this.
Sanje Shendo Mende Buwa Yin Dogen Nanda Shenla Shoba Yo Gundo Yanda Lama Don Jeme Chuje Bela Lonje Chen Sadan Lanje Yende Razo Ne Doje Changye Goban Yendo Sho Guru Rana Mindrena Gana Yanda Bene Soni Ne Kada Yamba Kashi Sabadi Lomi Mari Gidon Jovana Nandrin Jaye Ombo Daju Chi Dema Sumbi Sera Gundo Yang Jambi Yang Ju Tsewe Jizone Tembi Rinpa Kunsan Lang Ju Cho Nyene Zhubi Jena Nyesi Sho Rangi Chijin Dobi Lang Ju Ne Shu Zhan Tsewe Zhangye Tauge Je Zhuo Yue Yue Ju Minpa Se Xie Ne Jia Yue Tenpa Yu Ren Zin Ju Ji Tenpa Ren Jin Chu Ge Ma Cha Ba Cha Jiang Nyang Ba Chu Bi Shu De Ne Ni Ji Qin Bu Yi Ro Ju Ba Yi Pin De 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 Se Wa Xie Ba Shu Se Jin Jia Yue Mi Zhong Chen Le Le Jo Lang Ju Rin Be Jiang Tan De Nang Ju Yi La Be De Xin Jia Yun Zi Ba Rin Du Zhong Ju Ji Lang Zang Zhu Bi Din Jin Zhu Xie Jin Ge Jin Si Jin Me Dang Mi Mi Kun Se Ra Gun Du Jia Yue Nga Ba Yi Nang Da Zhi Wa Ma Ju Ji Gang Zi Te Ba Chu La Chu Xue Ju Si Jin Zhu La Zun Ba Di Yue Ce Tu Din Nang Ju Da Du Zhu Xie Jin Zha Xi Jiang Su Shu Gun Qiao Ju Ji La Mi Gu Ce Rao Din Jin Nang Ga Chen Le Shu Ju Je Ba Dang Lo Zang Din Bi Zhi Mi Sa Song Ji Zhuo Yue Mi Se Da Du Ni Ju Ji Yue Gu Yue Xin Gang Zu Bian Dang De Wa Ma Zhong Yue Ne Xin Zhi Zi Wang Din Zi Jia Zu Yi Xiao Bi Xin Ti Ba Du Din Ju Ji Ba Yue Ji Da Qin Ba Dang Gun Du Zang Bo Dian Yang Di Xin Di De Da Gun Ju Ji Si Da Lu Xue Ge Wan De Da Dang Ji Rao Du Ngo Du Zong Xie Bi Jia Dang Ji Ji Ma Wa Gang La Chu Du Nga Ba De Da Jin Ge Yue Za Wa Du Gun Jiang Zong Bo Xie Ji Rao Du Ngo